Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Today is Monday, April 19th, and this is the very first episode of Jolly Talks. I should probably get a new camera if I'm looking at myself correctly right now. It's a little grainy, it's a little rough. I'm using the computer's actual camera. So what this show is going to be is just a whole lot of me, Jake Jollymore, talking about sports. Anything going on in any sport is fair game, from speed skating all the way to the NFL. So, speaking of the NFL, because I am awful at transitions and that is never going to change, there is a lot of things going on in the NFL right now between the draft and teams opting out of OTAs. Now, OTAs are, as it stands right now, not mandatory for NFL players to go to at this stage. The NFL players, as per the NFLPA and the CBA, do not have to go to these OTAs. Now, that doesn't mean a coach may not hold the player liable. And like we saw with the COVID opt-outs, most of those players ended up off those teams. Much like if you choose not to go to OTAs, what's the likelihood of you not being on the team? It could be higher. We don't know. We'll find out. However, a lot of teams are making the conscious decision to just not host OTAs. The Seahawks, Broncos, Buccaneers, Falcons, Bears, Browns, Lions, Raiders, Chargers, Rams, Dolphins, Patriots, Giants, Jets, and Steelers have all announced in one way or another that either they will not have any OTAs at all, or some players will not be at OTAs. That's almost half the league right there. The Patriots, one of the teams that said some players might be at OTAs. That word might, or not all players will participate in OTAs, as the Falcons had said, that holds a red flag. Because now you have the longtime players who have gotten their money and gotten everything they wanted. All these players are trying to get rid of the OTAs that the younger players absolutely unequivocally need. It's how you learn the system. It's how you get in the good graces of the coach to keep your job. However, the older players saw last season and there was no OTAs, no off-season program, nothing. And they're just like, hey, our bodies can get used to this. We like this. Now, does it have its benefits? Obviously. The players have a healthier time frame, I guess, for the entire season, especially going to 17 games this season. What the? Especially going to a 17-game season. The healthier the player, the better it is for everybody, from you to me to the NFL to the player themselves. Anything is better than an injured player. However, younger players need that extra time to learn the system. And right now, we don't have the draftees. The voluntary workouts now, because the draft was pushed back to the end of April, is 100% before the voluntary OTAs. There was already players that decided they didn't want to do OTAs, and that's fine. Now we're going on a mass mandate of the NFLPA trying to get every team on board with this so that they can demolish voluntary OTAs. Some players like working out with their guy, their guru, so to speak. And that's fine. I'm not against this personally. I don't care if we have OTAs because besides maybe one guy blowing an ACL, what do we really learn? Nothing. It's just another way for them to stay in shape. They can do that on their own time. 99% of NFL players aren't lazy. 99% of NFL players don't need this time to just make sure they're in running order. It's not something they need. They are professionals. They are acting as professionals, and they train like professionals. So if they don't want to go to OTAs, they don't have to. I don't see a reason why they should go to OTAs. But you have half the league still over here like OTA start today. We're going to be there. A lot of the most successful teams last year seem to be going to OTAs, with the exception of the most successful team, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I see there's 8 people watching. What do you guys think? Do you guys think players skipping voluntary OTAs at this stage in the season is good, bad? What do you guys think? Like I said, I don't see a problem with it as long as you don't show up to camp 20, 30, 40 pounds overweight. You're fine. On the degree of NFL draft talk, today it's been reported that the Atlanta Falcons and the Denver Broncos are in talks to trade the number 4 and the number 9. Obviously, Denver's going to have to add in to move up 5 spots in the draft, and that would be projected to obviously take a quarterback. As we all know, Trevor Lawrence, Zach Wilson, 1, 2. Mac Jones, Justin Fields is going 3, one of the 2. And then there's Trey Lance, and it's heavily rumored that Trey Lance is the guy that the Denver Broncos are pursuing. I don't think they need to trade up to get Trey Lance, though, quite frankly. I think they could get Trey Lance at 9 if the Patriots were to move up to 4 with the Falcons to get Justin Fields. Lance is going to start slipping. You have 4 of your top 5 quarterbacks off the board right away. Lawrence, Wilson, Mac Jones, Justin Fields, Trey Lance. Trey Lance is going to be the odd man out no matter what. I've heard nobody saying, I think Trey Lance is going top 3. No. You've heard plenty of people say Mac Jones is going 3 overall. You've heard plenty of people saying Justin Fields could go 3 overall. Nobody is saying that Trey Lance is going 3 overall. Martin says it's not a problem if you miss OTA. Just make sure you're in good shape when training camp starts. Exactly. These guys are professionals. There's no reason that they can't be trusted to stay in shape. It's that easy. And then you, as the player base, can prove that the voluntary workouts that aren't really actually voluntary, let's be honest, the NFL coaches and ownership has tried to push that it's absolutely voluntary, but they put player bonuses in for showing up. So is it really voluntary if you get $250,000 just for showing up? If you get $1.2 million workout bonus just for showing up? When you can do that with your personal trainer, skip the $1.2 million, and you're probably having a better workout regimen with your personal trainer. That's my point. Back to Atlanta. I think Atlanta's trading out of that number 4 spot no matter what, whether it's New England, Denver, maybe Tampa Bay wants to move up. I don't care. Whoever it is, Atlanta will not be selecting at the number 4 spot under any circumstance. There's too many teams that want to move up for that pick for them to stay there. And they can pick up more draft capital and potentially, depending on how they play it, just let's say they move back to 15 with the Patriots, use some of that acquired assets to move back into the top 10 if they're eyeing somebody like Kyle Pitts, who probably won't be there past 6, to be honest. But that's the example I'm giving right now. Somebody like Devontae Smith or Jalen Waddle, whoever they're eyeing, they're probably not eyeing a wide receiver. I should think that through before I say it, to be honest, because of all teams to need a wide receiver, it is not the Atlanta Falcons. In other football news, Alex Smith has announced his retirement from the NFL today at 36 years old. What a story. Alex Smith quite possibly could be the most heartwarming football story football's ever seen. Had a gruesome leg injury. He was told he might die. He was told he might have to get amputated. He was told he'd never walk again. He had 17 surgeries. And 693 days later, Alex Smith made a return to the football field. In game for the Washington football team. Chad, how are you? Nice to see you. It's been a hot minute since I've been live on any platform really, but I'm here. I'm talking. I'm having a good time talking about Alex Smith right now. the Washington football team went on to win the NFC East title. And yeah, we can have that argument that the NFC East was a joke last year, but that's not what we're going to do. Alex Smith came in and went 5-1. And then the Washington football team almost won the wild card game against the then future Super Bowl champions, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, with Tyler Heineken. The dude that was third, actually, he started the season at fourth string. I think it's Taylor Heineke, to be exact. Martin says Alex Smith's comeback last season is a Disney movie coming to life, and I love it. Quite frankly, when the season started, the first thing I said back on my other show was, I am here for the Alex Smith return story. I want to see it. I want to be there. I want to be a part of it. And boy, oh boy, did it not disappoint. 5-1. If he was playing in that AFC wildcard or NFC wildcard game, I would put money down right now that the Buccaneers are going to lose to the Washington football team. Brandon, Jolly Talks, you're asking what? My last name is Jollymore. What more do you need? Jolly Talks, Jollymore. Boom. Done. Easy. Chad, I'm hoping the Steelers get Justin Fields in the draft this year. So, in order for him to get, that's actually, that's a good fit. I think Justin Fields to the Steelers is a good fit. I just don't see that being plausible because I don't see Pittsburgh trading up. Give me 1 second. I don't know where their exact number is right now. Just 24. Okay, so they're at 24. I don't. So they have 24, 55, 87, 128, 216. So short of trading this year's first and next year's first, I don't see the Steelers having enough ammo to move up into the top, probably 5, to get Justin Fields. We know 1, 2, and 3 aren't moving. So that leaves Atlanta and Cincinnati at 4 and 5. Cincinnati may be more likely to take a bad trade. Maybe you can get a first this year, a third this year, and your second next. You'd probably still have to give up your first next year to get into the top 5. So you might want to start looking at Kyle Trask, potentially Ettenberger. Edliner. It's Edliner. Past the top to like 7 quarterbacks, I start losing being able to say their names or know what they are. Brandon says that Alex Smith said he thought about signing with the Jaguars before retiring. I mean, if he wanted a payday, the Jaguars were the move to make. The Jaguars were most definitely going to just pay him to be Trevor Lawrence's backup, but he wasn't going to start. He had no chance of starting on that Jacksonville team. Between Gardner Minshew still being there, who will probably be traded on draft day, and between Trevor Lawrence being drafted, where's Alex Smith fit in besides a old mentor? If Alex Smith wanted to keep playing, he was going to try to get a starting role, and none of that was it. Alex Smith ended his career better than Eli Manning. He was 99, 67, and 1 with a 62.6 completion percentage with 35,000 yards, 199 touchdowns, and 7 total winning seasons. Not bad for a guy that's, kind of just bounced around because every team's given up on him. Brandon, I knew you'd bring up the Vikings. I would like to see the Vikings trading up if 1 or 2 of the top QBs fall close to pick 10 or trade back and gain a second-round pick. Where are the Vikings? What's the number for them? Do you know off the top of your head? I know I think they're at 13, actually. I don't see Minnesota going after a single quarterback in this draft because Kirk Cousins is far better than anybody is giving him credit for. Just don't put him in prime time. They have Pick. 14. I ended my football career better than Eli Manning did. You know what? I can't fight that. Eli Manning was not a good quarterback, and he's going to go into the Hall of Fame, even though he doesn't deserve it, but that's another rant for another day. So the Vikings sit at 14 just before the Patriots, and in reality, they're probably going to go after a defensive end or an outside linebacker, somebody off the edge, somebody like Kwity Paye, somebody like Micah Parsons. I doubt, like I said, they're comfortable with Kirk Cousins. Kirk Cousins is comfortable there, and that is a recipe. If Kirk Cousins can get past Kirk Cousins, that team is Super Bowl ready, minus the secondary. They're still young. They brought in Patrick Peterson, so that should teach these guys a little bit quicker. That was a great, one of my favorite signings in free agency was Patrick Peterson to the Minnesota Vikings, because the rest of that secondary is so young. Martin says, I'm really hoping New England is as aggressive in the draft as they were in free agency. Trey Lance or Justin Fields will be amazing behind Newton for a year or two. If we somehow trade up, I'm going to feel like we won the Super Bowl again. If the Patriots do move up and they take Trey Lance or Justin Fields, I can guarantee you 100%, no matter what, Cam Newton's not on the team in 2022. I don't think Cam Newton starts the entire season in 2021 if that does happen, especially Justin Fields. Justin Fields will be in by the bye week, depending on when. I don't think we have the actual physical week yet, but if it's a later bye week, it will unequivocally 100% be Justin Fields past the bye week, or at least halfway through the season. Trey Lance, I think, needs a little more time to develop, putting him behind a solid, I wouldn't call Cam Newton a solid quarterback, but putting him behind somebody you already have and letting the season play out, not a bad move for Trey Lance. I like him. I like the way he looks throwing the ball. I watched half of his pro day, and he just looked so smooth, so easily throwable on the run. I like Trey Lance. I just don't think he knows how to read a defense from watching actual tape. Vikings at 14 should take an O-lineman. This draft is stacked at O-line. You can get a solid O-line anywhere on the O-line in the second and third round. Do not take an O-line if his name is not Slater or I said Becton. I'm 1 year off there. The Penny Sewell. There we go. Sorry. I wasn't expecting to talk about offensive linemen today, but hey, here we are. I think Najee Harris to the Dolphins at 24 is 100% going to happen. I think at 6, they're probably going to take one of the other Alabama wide receivers, either one of them, whether it's Devontae Smith or Jalen Waddle, and you're going to see the rebirth of Alabama in Miami with Harris, Tua, and either Smith Smith or Waddle. And I think that's going to be a good move for Miami, and Brian Flores is 100% proven me wrong. Oh, boy. What would it take? So, Jake, question for you. By the way, guys, I'm not a Jaguars fan. I'm a Patriots fan. I'm just a realistic Patriots fan that's not afraid to say when the Patriots suck. And then I like how Jacksonville builds a team, because they always build it with the same formula and then have the worst coaches in the world. And it never works. So, your Jaguars, what would it take for you to move out of number 1? Trevor Lawrence is on the board. You know what I'm not doing under any circumstance? You could offer me your next 6 years of number 1 picks. I'm not trading out. I'm taking Trevor Lawrence, because if you think as the NFL, as a GM in the NFL, you automatically have to know, if you think you have a guy at quarterback, you have to take him. If you think Kyle Trask, the number 6 quarterback in this draft, is your guy, trade up back into the first round, take him with 32, because I'm willing to bet you the Buccaneers, who don't need anybody on their team, I'm willing to bet you that the Buccaneers are going to be willing to trade back this year. Move up into that 32 spot, take Kyle Trask. You have that number or that fifth-year option on the guy you think is your future now, which is the important part. If you think he's your future, you reach for him, just like Mitch Trubisky was reached for, just like every other quarterback in the first round in the past 11 years. If you think you have the guy, take him. End of story. Chad, if Justin Fields does fall to, let's say, number 4, because Mac Jones goes 3 in this scenario, yes, I think the Patriots, if Denver doesn't make a move first, I think 100% the Patriots make a move. That is false, Brandon. I do not like the Jaguars because of AEW. I was following the Jaguars before AEW was ever a thing. Tony Khan and the way he treats wrestlers is just an added plus at this point. So I'm going to talk a little bit of baseball for the last 10 minutes here and the New York Yankees because what the hell's going on in New York? The Yankees are in last place in the AL. When was the last time that happened? Add the 1 minus the 6 plus 14 minus 37. It was 1991. So what is wrong with the New York Yankees right now? I mean, quite literally right now, yes, the Yankees do suck. Is it batting or pitching, though? Now, I compiled some numbers. I compiled some stats. And it looks like Garrett Cole is Garrett Cole. He's fire on the mound. Always has been, always will be. But after Garrett Cole, what is their rotation? Corey Kluber, former Cy Young Award winner, who has pitched a total of 10 innings in 3 games this season. He is 0-1 with a 6.1 ERA. He's struck out 12 and given up 7 earned runs in 10 innings. Then they have Domingo Germain at 0-2 with a 9.00 ERA, 7 Ks, 7 earned runs in 7 innings in 2 games. Ooh. Jordan Montgomery is 1-1 with a 4.24 ERA. He's struck out 18 and given up 8 runs in 17 innings. So their second best pitcher right now is Jordan Montgomery. Jameson Taillon is 0-1 with a 7.56 ERA, 3 strikeouts, 7 earned runs in 8.1 innings. So this unstoppable best team in the world, most talented team in the world ever assembled. I mean, we're not talking about the Dodgers right now because they are the best team ever assembled. But the Yankees fans and their fan base like to think they are. Their starting pitching, I wouldn't necessarily say is the problem. I mean, their starting pitching isn't helping. But their bullpen is making up for what their starting pitching can't do. Their combined team ERA right now is a 3.90, which is 9th in the MLB. They've given up 115 hits, which is right there in the middle of the league, 54 earned runs, also right there in the middle. And their opponents only have a 226 batting average, which is 10th in the league. And they've struck out 171 batters, which is 2nd in the league. Now let's look at this objectively. They're batting. This end-all, be-all power team. Everybody's at threat of hitting a home run at any time. Anything can happen. They've hit 16 home runs this season, which is tied for 19th in the MLB. They have 52 RBIs, which is 26th in the league. 26th! They have only scored 52 runs in 15 games, and they are damn near last in the league. As Martin said, heading into the season, if you would have told me that the Boston Red Sox would be in first place and the Yankees were in last, I would have called you insane. The Red Sox are having it's not even quiet. We all know what's happening. They're having such a good year right now, and Chris Sale doesn't even come back until about July. when their ace comes back, if they're still first in the standings, call it a day. I on the list of things I would never expect, it's right there. The Yankees are only averaging 3.6 runs per game right now, which is god awful. I don't know anything about the Twins right now. I don't watch them, so I can't help you there, Brandon. Is he back from injury finally? I have yet to see that, but that's going to be huge for them. Yeah, I mean, I kept things nice and simple for this very first episode. Yankees, football. As we all know, I know football very well. I dabble in baseball. I don't know hockey and basketball as well as I should, but Kevin Durant from the Brooklyn Nets has a thigh injury. Is it just me, or are the Brooklyn Nets the softest team the MLB's ever seen? LaMarcus Aldridge had a heart arrhythmia and had to retire. But the rest of that team is so soft. When was the last time Kyrie Irving actually sat there and played an entire week's worth of games? At this point, I'm starting to think it was 2016. Pirates have a better record than the Yankees. I'm pretty sure the Yankees have the worst record. Let's find out. I know that it's obviously AL. They have the worst in the AL. Oh, that's rough. Nationals are 5-8, and the Rockies are 4-12. So they are close. The Pirates stand at 7-9. So they are 2 games better. 2 games. Everybody watching, make sure you like, make sure you share, make sure you comment, be a friend, tell a friend. Rockies are 4-12 at the worst record. Yep. So there's Chad says it's going to be interesting for Rod tonight to see if Alexa is done with the Fiend and Nikki Cross is his new part. I see what. Okay. I see what you're saying. So you think Nikki Cross would be joining on with the Fiend and Alexa would be going to do her own thing. I think this entire storyline, and we'll talk about this more tomorrow night on Ringside Roundup, but I think we're going to get Sister Abigail soon. And I've been saying that almost for a year now. I could be wrong. It's just seeming like that's the perfect way to go with all of this. And if they're not going to bring out Sister Abigail, stop mentioning her. Change the finisher name. Just get rid of everything referencing Sister Abigail. Alexa Bliss, on the other hand, might be the most interesting storyline going on Monday Night Raw. Pat McAfee's now on SmackDown. But everybody, I love you guys. Thank you for joining. Great conversation. Thank you for joining me on the current adventure we're going on. This was easily one of the best shows I've ever done. Make sure you like the Facebook page. Follow us on Twitch. Make sure you follow us on Twitter because I'm going to start getting good at that eventually. Don't worry. And make sure you check out our website, GameChangerSportsNetwork.com. Tune in every Tuesday night at 8 Eastern for Ringside Roundup, where it's all about wrestling. And I will see you guys tomorrow at 7:30 Eastern time to talk another half an hour of sports. Make sure you like, make sure you comment, make sure you share, especially liking the videos. That is very important to the Facebook algorithm. Thank you for joining us. I love you.